Zach Godbold, welcome to the show.
Hi, man. I appreciate it. Thank you. Thank you for having me on.
Thank you for taking the time to do this. I said pretty much every episode, it means a lot to have anybody come on here, take the time to do it. It definitely means a lot to me just starting out. Zach, you're from Tampa, Florida. Talk to me about your upbringing and what your upbringing was like.
Yeah. Like you said, from Tampa, Florida. Lived there pretty much my whole life. I was actually born down in South Florida, in Plantation. I don't really claim that as my home. I was there for about 2 months of my life. Every other 18 and a half years of my life, I was in Tampa. So pretty much a Tampa native. Born with my older brother and my younger brother. Both of us went through the same schooling through elementary, middle school, high school, and now I'm at the University of Florida along with my older brother and probably soon to be my younger brother when he um, gets decisions back for college. So
Yes, sir. First off, go Gators, of course.
of
Should have
course,
should have put on a blue hoodie or a Gators t-shirt.
got to.
Definitely. Talk to me about what it means just to be from Tampa. What does the city mean to you?
Yeah, no, I mean, I love being from Tampa. There's so many great, athletes and people in general just to look up to, being from the city, from the 813. So it's good to represent. It feels good to be able to, hopefully one day be in the conversation of, those type of great athletes and stuff coming out of the city and doing something.
Definitely. We met a good amount of time ago. I'm good friends with your older brother Frank that you just mentioned. He goes to UF also. We graduated in the same class in high school. When we first met, he used to always talk about you. Oh, my brother, he throws javelin. He's really good. He's finishing top in the junior Olympics, stuff like that. So I always had heard about you. And then once you got to high school, we met. Not really as close as me and your brother, obviously, but talk to me about just growing up, you and your older brother and also your younger brother playing sports and just doing the things that you guys love growing up.
Yeah, I mean, being in a household where both parents, played sports in college, that definitely influenced us a little bit. We all grew up playing, every sport that there is really. I've played soccer, football, baseball, track. I mean, you name it, we've probably done it. And growing up, my older brother was always more of the distance runner, and I was kind of the opposite kind of kid. Thrower, sprinter type person, obviously dropping the sprints and becoming a thrower. But being in a household where sports were definitely more than encouraged helped me to be where I am today, for sure.
Definitely. I also want to give a quick shout out to your parents, your mom and dad. Throughout high school, they always welcomed me. I've been to your house a couple of times and they always embraced me and allowed me to have a good time hanging out with you guys. So I appreciate them. How did you first get started throwing javelin?
Yeah, no, I get asked this question a lot, and it's always an interesting story. So, I mean, as I mentioned previously, growing up, I played multiple sports, and one of those that I started pretty early was football at like the age of 5, and I played football at the local, middle school, high school. I played for it was once the Patriots, then we merged with a team, became the Tigers, and basically my football coach at the time was a coach at a local track club at a local middle school called Bartels, and he strongly encouraged, every time that the football season was winding down, coming towards the end, he told people, come out, stay in shape. It's great for the football season, even if you don't, want to do anything with track. But sometimes, people do end up doing things with track, and so I went out there, and as I mentioned, I started off as a distance runner, actually running like the quarter mile, the half mile, the full mile. This was really young, like the age of 6, 7. Did that for a couple of years. I was like, you know what? Don't really want to do that anymore. Kind of winded down a little bit to the sprints, and I started running like the 100, 200. Of course, not very good at either of those things. And it got to a point where I was like, I don't want to do running anymore. And my parents were like, well, you got to do something in track. And so it was when I was 10 years old when I ended up dropping all the other events and I picked up shot put, javelin, and discus, which are like the three main throwing events in track. And ever since the first year that I started, it kind of just stuck with me. Being very good from pretty much the first time that I'm throwing just like a natural and javelin, and that one stuck, and that's what I'm doing today.
Definitely. That's kind of crazy. It sounds like obviously you had to work hard, obviously, but it sounded like you were pretty much a natural at it. Was your track coach Coach Tate?
Yeah, Coach Tate, Mark Tate.
Yeah. Shout out to Coach Tate, Caleb,
Of course.
and all the Tates. If you ever see this, definitely family friends of mine. When you said the Sharks and the Tigers, and
Oh yeah,
I was like, gotta be Coach Tate. I used to play for the Bandits, East Tampa Bandits. So we used to play against the Patriots, Sharks, Tigers, good amount. But yeah, shout out to Coach Tate, getting my boy in the track. It sounds like from the sounds of it, you were somewhat of a natural, but when did you realize like that you need to start taking it more serious, and when did you start to elevate your game even more?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So as I mentioned, like 10 years old was when I pretty much picked up the javelin and started doing that for the first time. And every year it was kind of just like here comes track season. Let me pick up a javelin for the first time. Not prioritizing it as much as maybe football or soccer at the time. And it was when I was 14, which is my eighth grade year, that eighth grade summer going into my freshman year, when I started taking it a little more seriously, started working on practice a little bit more. And that summer was actually when I won my first national championship, my first AAU championship, setting a huge PR. I believe it might have been a national record at the time. I don't think it stands anymore. But at 14, going into my freshman year, was when, I pretty much knew that I'd be doing football and soccer for fun now, definitely not taking that for granted, but knowing at that time that it's what I would want to be doing post high school career and in college.